Chimeras. Let's talk about chimeras. Hey guys, everything new under the sun. We know chimeras existed prior to the flood with the Nephilim. We're reading about this in Enoch. You know, it's mentioned of in Jasher as well, how the angels actually interbred and mixed genes and came up with all sorts of different weird species, half man, half beast, chimeras. And this is in the news again, and this was on Canadian national news last night, actually. Human-pig hybrid. They are putting genes together. They're putting genes, well, let's just read it. And they're taking stem cells from humans and inserting it into pig embryos, and they're letting something grow until a certain amount. Video started here. So, it's just get a picture of, I saw something down here there. This is maybe what a chimera would look like, if, but that's a guy holding up a pig head. Anyways, yes, so this happened to be in the days of Noah. But this was mainstream media news last night. A hybrid human pig embryo has been injected into a sow's womb as scientists push the ethical turn off that ad. As scientists push the ethical boundaries of science in the hope that they can create life-saving donor organs. So, you know, the main reason for doing this is they want to grow, you know, hearts, human hearts that they can then use as transplants. Medically, this is all for a good reason, you know, save humans. But obviously, they're letting the embryo live to a certain age and then killing it, basically, aborting it, I guess. But who's to say some of these guys aren't going to let this grow to see what it turns into, to see what it looks like when it grows? And we know this was occurring in the days of Noah. We know this is going to occur in the end times as well, as the Nephilim come back and the spirits, the dark forces, do similar things that they were doing in Noah's day. Scientists from Salk Institute, a biological research organization in California, have taken cells from a pig and people to create an embryo that was then inserted into a female pig. The initial parts of the experiment, several different types of human cells were inserted into pig embryos in petri dishes to determine which cells were best matched for pig embryo. The human cells, which worked best with the pigs, were infant ones, which have the potential to develop into adult cells, known as pluripotent cell. The cells that survived eventually formed a human pig embryo. We are doing it just like they did in Noah's day. Maybe not by injecting stem cells, but by certainly mixing creatures and forcing them together, something that nature would not otherwise allow. So they were allowed to develop for around a month. And you know they're going to keep extending that as they're pushing. Scientists have created a human pig embryo, and this is, I guess, a picture of a heart that they're hoping to harvest. Lead author of the research said, "This is long enough for us to try and understand how human and pig cells mix together early and without raising ethical concerns about mature chimeric animals. However, even the strongest surviving cells were relatively weak. But at this stage, it is more of a trial and error process." And that's exactly what I think the Nephilim found, the fallen angels. But they kept trying until they got something out of it. Alright, keep getting interrupted. Dr. Belmont, at this point we wanted to know whether human cells can contribute at all to address this question, this yes or no question. And so here's an image of them inserting stem cells into the pig embryo there. Scientists merging human and pig cells. Now that we know the answer is yes, our next challenge is to improve efficiency and guide the human cells into forming particular organs in pigs. I think what's going to happen is someone's going to let this go beyond, around a month, and we're going to have a chimera, just as in the days of Noah. To do this, researchers will turn to genetic modification and edit pig genomes so they can fit human cells in. And then it gets into a part, the world's strangest animals. Have you seen two-headed kittens? So this is just nature, mutations in nature that are happening. With the global organ donor shortage, scientists have identified pigs as an ideal candidate to help, as their organs, specifically the heart and kidneys, are very, very similar to humans. So can you see chimeras coming to life as it happened in biblical times? I think so. Could it lead to a Frankenstein-style monstrosity? As such, scientists are hoping to grow organs that are part human, part pig, which can be transferred to a patient. Belmonte, the ultimate goal is to grow functional transplantable tissue or organs, but we are far away from that. However, he added, this is an important first step. I think they've probably already created chimeras. I think you'd have to be naive to think that they haven't done this already, and that there are some living, in Russia, China, wherever, in some of these states that do some crazy experiments. So you have to believe that they're well ahead of what this article is suggesting. And yes, there is a lot of moral issues with this. Will these creatures be able to be saved if they're half human, half man? I think, well, God already knows what to do with them. This already happened, and he destroyed a whole pile of them with the flood, with the biblical flood of Noah. That was the whole point of destroying all man, because there was this mixing of the genome, and chimeras in the land, and giants in the land, and mighty men, basically the kids that came out of the Nephilim, the angels, the fallen angels that slept with the daughters of men. And so God's going to take care of this. And yes, there are absolutely a lot of moral and ethical issues, and yes, this is outside of God's original creation and purpose. And he's going to come deal with it. The first time he dealt with it with water. The second time he's going to deal with it with fire. And so we're getting very close. This means we're in the end times when they start actually doing this and making progress on this stuff, which they're already doing. They already made an embryo, and it survived a month, and then they had to kill it, abort it, basically. If they're already doing this, it's not going to be many years longer before they can create a full chimera, a full hybrid, and before they get the buy-in, because this is part of it's a part of I can't think of the word, but anyways, people get used to the idea of something. They're acclimatized to it. Is that the right word? And once we get used to the idea, oh yeah, they're making this for organs. That's great. And then we're prepped and ready to go to the next step and to accept the next step. To say, well, let's create a whole chimera. And maybe since we consider it a non-human, we'll let it grow to 13 or 14 years old, and then we'll harvest its organs for use in the dyeing or something like that. Or maybe they'll start saying, well, let's create this chimera and let's transplant the brain from a person into it and see if that works. So I mean, there's no end to this, and they're never going to stop trying new things. There's never going to be a moral red line. They'll just keep pushing that red line up and up and up and up, and they'll keep trying new things because there is no morality when it comes to evolution. If you're not a Christian, there is no morality. There can't be. There's no absolute truth if you believe in evolution, and that's the problem. There's no border. There's no end point. There's no place where they say, oh, okay, I'm going to stop here. Because evolution, there's no place in evolution that says I'm going to stop here, because there's no one directing it. It's all random chance. So there cannot be a stop. It goes on forever if evolution is true, and you just keep iterating to the next new thing. So in terms of morality, the people who believe in evolution, there's no such thing as morality. That's just whatever the general consensus of the day is, effectively, and there's no absolute truth. And like I said, that's why God's going to come back and destroy the planet with fire when he comes again. We're getting close. A couple of years off, which kind of fits into my prediction of 3-4 years off before the 7-year tribulation. That's kind of what I'm thinking right now. But we're a little ways out, but we're getting there.